rush, adrenaline rush now. Adrenaline rush, adrenaline rush now. Adrenaline rush, adrenaline rush now. Adrenaline rush, adrenaline rush now.
There you go. All right, let's get right into TNA. We got to get moving here. It's very late.
Beer Money came out. Storm said it was time for Hulk to retire and give young guys the chance. He said they're in the semi-main tonight. Hoped Hogan would have fun trying to follow their match. It is late. They kissed each other's ass for a while, basically. And Rude said, for 4 years, you've been my partner, my best friend, and my brother. In 4 days, he didn't say that. Apparently, I was wrong when I wrote that down. I've got a world title match coming up, he said, and all I can think about is how important this match is tonight. Storm said he has something to prove to Rude and to himself, and he said, tonight, I might just be a little better than you. Called him, quote, one of the greatest workers in the game today, and they shook hands. That's some great promos. Sting was walking around backstage in a red and yellow suit.
Actually, the reason I laughed had nothing to do with what you said. Someone randomly just sent me Deuce and Domino's theme. I don't know why.
That is funny.
Do you remember it?
Vaguely.
Let me play part of it here. I don't know why this was randomly sent to me. And it seems to be not playing. Oh, I see.
Just because it's up your musical alley.
I guess he probably sent me this because I've been using doo-wop at the beginning of the show.
Come let me take you back. Turn back the hands of time. That's when I discovered. That's when I made it mine. My pants couldn't be too tight. That's when I learned to fight. James Dean defined the days. Who took me all the way? Ooh, I'm all about ooh, no other rule, no other rule. But you act like a fool. You never be whole. Gonna take you to school. I'm all about.
It's a pretty goddamn good song.
That is a fucking good song, man.
Wow.
That's a great song.
There you go. I'm all about cool, everybody. Sure, it's available on iTunes. Head up there and check it out. I totally forgot that song. My pants can't be too tight. That's when I learned to fight. Those are some lyrics, everybody.
I'm all about cool.
That made me happy right there. All right. Thank you, Ryan, for sending that in. All right, go ahead.
Gunner wrestled Kazarian.
Oh, yes, for real.
In this match, Kazarian suffered an arm injury. So Gunner slapped on an arm bar and Kaz had to tap out. I watched this about 2 hours after watching Michael James. I think he dislocated his elbow on live TV, so flashback. So then Gunner wins. He has won the match. Kaz is submitted. Gunner won. Gunner walks over. He puts a boot on Kaz's neck. We see guys do this in every match. And the ref pulls Gunner off him and calls for the DQ. It happened so fast, we were not even aware there was a post-match attack. We had to go back and check. And so, yes, technically there was. Technically, he did attack this down man after the bell. But like we say, guys do it all the time, and they're not getting DQ'd.
Well,
but
let me say this.
Then, Gunner didn't even give a shit. Disqualify me? Meh, whatever.
Well, let me say this. We haven't even discussed this yet. Vince Russo is no longer the head of creative. Bruce Pritchard has taken over. And Todd and I were talking about this on the program today. And one very important detail that Dave added in the update today that Todd and I did not talk about is the fact that this actually has been going on for a while. It's now official. But Bruce Pritchard has been directing the storylines. And then Russo gets, the direction and he writes the stuff down. So, these shows that we've been talking about where there have been some very good segments, I mean, that could have been Bruce Pritchard getting to work.
It would make sense.
I don't know how long it's been, but if you've been listening to this show, they've been doing some good shit the last 3 or 4 weeks. Now, there have still been some stupid stuff on the show, don't get me wrong. But the shows overall have been significantly better the last several weeks. And I heard from people that were down on the idea of Bruce Pritchard taking over. There are a lot of people that don't like Bruce Pritchard. But I said this many times, I don't give a shit if the janitor is writing this show. Just got to get rid of Vince Russo as the head writer. And whether the last several weeks have been the result of Bruce Pritchard or not, I don't know, but the shows have been better. And I will say, because I am a fair man, because I thought too, it was like, okay, hold on a second. Some fucking guy attacks someone at the end of every TNA match without fail. I can't even tell you how many TNA matches. There's like a show that, 7 out of the 8 matches. The finish, somebody ran in and attacked somebody. Or somebody attacked somebody after the bell. Now all of a sudden it's a DQ. And I thought, you know what? Let's give it a chance. Maybe this is Bruce Pritchard. His booking philosophy is we're going to get rid of the bullshit. And if somebody attacks somebody after a match, it's going to be a DQ from now on. And maybe he's got a new set of rules in the TNA universe that are going to take effect. And if that's the case, great. I'm going to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. There were a couple of segments on this show that normally I would think, who gives a fuck? They're going to follow up on this. What the fuck was the point of this? Is this really going to be followed up next week? Now I'm going to go, you know what? Maybe it will. I will give them a chance and see if this shit's followed up next week. If in 2 months none of this stuff is followed up on and people are running in every match and it's completely random like it used to be, then I'll bitch about it again. But for now, as a fair man, I'm going to give Bruce Pritchard a chance. Christ knows I've been begging for somebody to replace Russo for God knows how long. So that's my take.
Mr. Anderson came down to the ring for a promo. He apologized to his assholes for joining Immortal. Says, what the hell was I thinking? Called Bully Ray a douchebag. Ray came out. Body fat much lower than 37%.
I'll say.
He is still getting smaller. They bitched at each other for a while. Anderson challenged him to a Falls Count Anywhere match at the pay-per-view. He issued this challenge, and then his music played and he left. Mm-hmm. I guess this means Bully Ray accepted.
I guess.
Cut backstage to Eric Bischoff talking about Hogan retiring. Said it was the end of an era and it was tough to go through. We went from that to Brian Kendrick doing poetry. Guess which was better?
I would guess not Brian Kendrick doing poetry.
Correct. So Cash came up. He mentioned Kid Cash in here somewhere. And Cash said if he got something to say it to my face. And Kendrick started to talk. And Kid Cash slapped the fuck out of him. He hit him so goddamn hard in the face. And I've mentioned before that I don't like Brian Kendrick. And I think I've said I wanted to see him lose his job. I do not think this was funny. This is too hard even for me. So he slapped the fuck out of him, beat him on the ground for a bit, left him lay, and that was that. We had Winter and Madison versus Velvet and Mickey. The gimmick here is that these four women are in a four-way at the pay-per-view, and this was to build to that. So you would think, okay, it's a four-way, so neither team will get along here, and then someone will pin Winter to set up, the champion is at a disadvantage going into the end of the match, you would think. What happened was, Angelina's at ringside. She trips Winter on accident, which is not as bad as it sounds. It made sense in the spot. And this led to Madison pinning Velvet.
Yeah.
So the heels screwed up and were incompetent and cheated against themselves, and the babyfaces were even more incompetent and cannot even capitalize on this error and ended up losing anyway.
This was the first thing on the show that I thought, this sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know who books the finishes for these shows, but if you're going to axe Vince Russo, you need to axe these agents next. Because I've never seen so many stupid finishes as I've seen this past year in TNA. Just preposterous finishes.
So, we had a recap of Hogan's last match. It was Hogan and Abyss versus Ric Flair and somebody, I forget who. They didn't show it. They just showed Hogan and Abyss coming out. Oh, earlier on the show, I don't notice this, but they said, hey, look, Jeff Hardy's here, and Jeff walked into the building. So now we have Angle bitching to Bischoff about Jeff Hardy being there. And this led to Bischoff in the ring, cutting a promo. He called out the Felon. He lists the men who he had worked with, like Vern Gagne and Nick Bockwinkel, and all these legends who gave Jeff and himself opportunities, who paved the way for them. He called Jeff an amazing athlete who was also the biggest screw-up he'd ever met. Said Jeff was out of chances. You've dropped the ball too many times. Said you came to the ring, quote, so pilled up you couldn't perform. You let me down, you let Hogan down, you let everybody down.
Pilled up!
And all I could think is, I'm watching this, listening to what Eric Bischoff says, what on earth makes him the heel? He is right about everything.
Well, what makes him the heel is Jeff Hardy as a guy that everyone loves in the Impact crowd, and he went around and asked forgiveness for everybody, and Bischoff would not accept it.
So
That's mean.
Jeff said, maybe some of these people agree with you, and I started waving my hand violently in the air. Eric said he would give him a chance to say goodbye, so Jeff Hardy responded by kicking him in the gut, hitting a twist of fate, saying, screw you, and running away through the crowd. Mm-hmm. Why on earth would anyone cheer Jeff in this?
Because he beat up Eric Bischoff.
Who was right?
A callous man.
We had a recap of Hulk Hogan rubbing it in Dixie Carter's face that he was in charge of TNA at this point. Crimson versus Joe. They were putting up tweets of people, putting up memories of Hulk Hogan's career, such as Bash at the Beach and WrestleMania 3. Mm-hmm. Neither of which you'll know happened in TNA. So they had a match. It was pretty fun, actually. And Joe grabbed Crimson's leg like he was going to do a half crab or a heel hook or something, but he just stood there for a while. And after like a minute of selling, Crimson rolled him up for the pin. Kind of a wacky finish, but the match was fine.
Yeah.
Had a Bully Ray promo. Said his career began in Philadelphia and he was going to end Anderson's career there. And talked about how that's where he got started. And he looked in the camera and said, screw you, screw Philadelphia. And he put on his New York hoodie and said, I'm from New York City. And it was a good promo, an attempt to not get cheered in Philadelphia that will fail. James Storm cut a promo backstage. He was angry, had an edge to him, a little bitterness here. He was happy for Rude, but he was also happy for himself because he had a chance to prove that he was one of the best too. And, just more subtle seeds for when his heel turn happens. And may happen on the pay-per-view, may happen down the road, but it's going to be awesome. Then we had another Bobby Roode highlight video. It was also great.
Talked to his mom and dad.
Bobby Roode's father needs to be on Impact more often just for his mustache. This mustache was great.
Pretty sweet mustache.
They showed him in Team Canada. He talked about good times and bad times, times you wouldn't know if you had a job from week to week. Said he had respect for guys like Hulk Hogan and Kurt Angle and everything they'd done, but this was 2011. He went back to the arena where he played hockey and watched wrestling as a child. Said Kurt had a mission to hold the young guys down, and he didn't know why, he didn't care. Said nobody was going to hold him down right now. This was great stuff. And the main event match, semi-main event, as James Storm noted, it was James Storm versus Bobby Roode. It was very good. Not as good as AJ and Roode last week. They're having this fun match, and they do a convoluted spot that involves all three men, including the referee, taking a bump and going down.
This is the other thing I thought was stupid.
Right?
There was nothing wrong with... obviously they had their whole idea of what they wanted to do. And there's nothing wrong if you need to do a spot where the ref gets in the way and everyone collides and they ball bonk into each other. That's fine, okay? But Wrestling 101, if you're going to fucking do that, then don't do it in the opener too. Is this really that hard to figure out? There's nobody to go over all the finishes and go, wait a second, we bunked into the referee in the first match, so if we're going to do it in the main event, let's do a different finish for the first match. Nope. It's like, all right, fine, we'll bonk into the referee in two matches, and that will be that. That kind of stuff is stupid to me. It's the whole idea of, if you're going to do something in a match on a show, then don't do it in any other matches. I realize this is old school, but it's the way it should be. So they did the bump spot. Everyone's down. Kurt Angle runs down, and he runs James Storm into the stairs. Throws him into the ring. Roode recovers and makes a cover, but Storm kicks out. They wrestled for about 2 more minutes, and Roode put him away with the perfect plex. And he was a little confused, like this should have been harder. But Storm was still out from going to the stairs, and obviously the setup here is going to be Roode's going to win the title, and Storm's going to be pissed off that, he could have proven that he could have beat this man, but he was cheated. So, can you imagine in ICW if Tim was going over all the matches and he noted that in his match, in the main event, there was going to be a deal where the referees bonked into the wrestlers bonked into the referee. And then, would you ever go up to Tim afterwards, and if you were in the opener, go, me and Pimp are going to do this spot, and we're going to bonk into each other and the referee?
Hell no.
You know what he would do if you said that? He'd start beating you right there with his cane.
Or a chair.
Sure. Wrestling 101.
Yeah.
Pisses me off. But, let's be honest. Aside from those two things, doing the same spot in the first match and in the main event, and what was the other one?
The women's match.
The women's match. What happened? I forgot what I was ranting about. Oh, that's right. The incompetent baby faces. I hate when you make your baby faces incompetent, especially when you change everybody 8 million times anyway. Aside from those two things, this was a great show. This is way better than last week, because last week had a great last half hour, but if you recall correctly, the first 90 minutes was shit. This built up all the matches for the pay-per-view. There was only two stupid things I can think of off the top of my head on the entire 2-hour show, and the rest of the show was even the matches, for Christ's sake. The women's tag. Aside from the finish, Vinny, that was the best women's tag. That was the best women's match we've seen in TNA in a long-ass time.
Probably.
Samoa Joe and Crimson, totally fine. All these matches were fine. So, 2 big thumbs up for Impact.
Should we talk about the last segment?
Oh, yeah. I like this, too.
Hulk Hogan retired. You want to gloss that over?
I did gloss that over.
Yeah. So he came out, he gave his big speech. He thanked the fans. Said he didn't know how he was going to replace the love he felt of the building. Fans were chanting, "Thank you, Hogan." Appeared to totally believe this retirement bullshit.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, well, yeah. So he said Hulkamania had the longest run of anybody in the business. It was time to put it to rest. And he said he wanted to let the celebration begin, but at this point Sting interrupted. Sting came out. He asked if anyone was buying this retirement talk, and the fans booed. I don't know if that meant they booed as if to say, "Boo, Sting, we hate you," or "Boo, we don't think Hogan's really retiring. We just wanted to cheer for him." I don't really know. So Sting said there were cameras.
They were pissed at Sting.
They may have been.
They clearly loved the Hulkster.
They did. So Sting said there were cameras all over the place, including this building, and he played security camera footage of Hogan and Bischoff backstage talking about how they fooled everyone into believing Hulk was going to retire. They buried the fans for being stupid, and these Knoxville fans in particular made fun of them for having no teeth and stuff. And finally Hogan cut him off, and the fans were standing, and they were into this, but they were not clapping. They were just standing, staring, and they had to pipe in boo noises.
Well, they sounded like they were pissed off when that video came in, and apparently from the live reports, the fans were super into the Hulkster, and when they aired the video of him burying the fans, it wasn't even so much that the video was about him admitting he lied, or catching him in the act that he was lying about this whole thing, but he comes out for the beginning of the speech, and he's like, "I knew I'd get this kind of reaction here in Knoxville," and everyone's going, "Yay!" And then they show the video of him in cahoots with Bischoff, talking about how it's all bullshit. And on top of that, he's like, these slack-jawed yokels here in Knoxville, these toothless inbreds. Yeah, and then they were pissed.
All right, there you go. So Hulk said he was sick of this. He was sick of Sting. He said he was never going to wrestle Sting, but he would fight him. And if Sting could beat him, he'd give the company back to Dixie. And as soon as he said this, he stood straight up, his eyes open wide, and he put his hand over his mouth as if to say, "Oh shit, what did I just do?" Sting said, "That's all I want, ta-ta for now," and he left, and the music played, and the show ended.
I thought this was one of Hogan's best performances in a long time.
He was great here, actually, yes.
Hulk Hogan was goddamn awesome here. He came out, he did his retirement speech. Listen, he was good enough that these fans believed it, you know? And he's talking, which is just preposterous given the speech that he gave. I mean,
given that it's 2011, he hasn't retired yet.
Well, me personally watching this, it's like, okay, you're coming out here, you don't look all that sad, you're all upbeat about it. I mean, you ain't really retired.
Your family's
obviously.
not here.
Yeah, exactly. And to
Brutus isn't here.
I just was sitting there watching, thinking, I cannot believe a single one of you fans believes this. But they were into it. Mm-hmm. And he did a great job. He did his great Hulk Hogan babyface promo. They're all going nuts for him. They're going nuts for this guy. And then when he got called out, He got all pissed off. He turned fucking beet red. He started screaming at Sting. I mean, he was beet red screaming at this guy. I hate you. I hate you. I'm sick of this. I refuse to wrestle you, but I'll fight you. And he's all red and spittles flying everywhere. And he goes, and if you win, you and Dixie can have this company back. And he pauses, and his eyes grow wide, and he covers his mouth, and his eyes dart back and forth in a guilty manner. And oh my god, I can't. I mean, it's total. It's total pantomime.
It's very hokey, but that's great.
But it's hokey, over the top, cartoon, professional fucking wrestling. And people worry too much about this real fake bullshit. Okay. Is it entertaining?
Yes.
Is it fun? Is it wacky? Did the heel get foiled? Hogan was awesome here as a guy that came out and he was full of shit and he was putting over the fans, and then he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar and he flipped out on everyone and yelled and screamed, and then he said something stupid. Why? Because he's a heel. Because he did something dumb without thinking. That's what heels do. And now he's got to have this match with Sting. I just thought this whole thing was great. I thought they did a great job with it. So, 2 thumbs up. 2 hang loose pinkies up as well. The show was great. And, yeah. This show was so much better than Raw, it's not even funny.
Oh, God, yes.
This show was...
Jesus, yes.
Awesome compared to Raw.
Well, actually, until Impact, even after Impact ended, I thought their pay-per-view was this Sunday. I said my dates wrong. But after last week's show, I was very excited for Rude versus Angle, and I was certain, thinking this was the go-home show, I was certain they were going to fuck it up. When it was over, I'm even more excited.
Yeah.
They have one more week, guys. You can do it.
That's right.
Just don't fuck this up.
That's right.
I am looking very forward to see Bobby Roode wrestle Kurt Angle for the world title. Don't make me hate it.
I don't think they're going to make you hate that one. And the booking that they did for the contract signing is simple and by the numbers. So I am bullish. 30,000 buys, everybody, for Bound for Glory. And we'll see. Maybe after the go-home show, I'll even bump it up to 35. But that would be... that would be more buy. If they did 35,000 buys, that would be as many buys as they have done in the last 5 months combined.
That sucks.
Think about that, everybody. So anyway, this was... what was great about this?
A lot.
Let me say one more thing. This was great because, Vince Russo's always been about the ratings. And the pay-per-views are always secondary. I got to build up ratings. That's why there was a point where TNA was doing 25,000 buys every single month, and Russo in all his glory has brought it down to 7,000 buys a month. Think about that. 7,000 to 8,000 pay-per-view buys every month. That is... I can't even tell you how horrible that is when you have 1.5 million viewers watching your show every week, that you can only get 8,000 of those people to buy your pay-per-view. But the point is, if this show does 30,000 buys, not only did this show do 30,000 buys, not only did this show do more buys than the last 5 months of TNA pay-per-views put together, but the last several shows have been the best TNA shows in a long, long time. Because, you see, if you're not a complete fucking moron, it's possible to write great television and build to pay-per-views. Shocking, I know. Anyway, that's it, everybody. I'm spent. I am done for. To the back! All right, let's... I guess we should probably do this Impact show.
We can do Impact if you want to.
It was fine.
It was not as good as these shows have been in the past couple of weeks.
Why don't we do the Impact review, and then, as I promised Sam Smith, we'll play the call that killed the Vinny V Sports Report.
All right.
I vowed to play that here on this program. So
you located it and it's ready to go?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
All right.
We'll play that here at the end of the show today, and let everybody hear what they missed if they didn't sign up several years back. The world famous Vinny V Sports Report. All right, get to work on this gal dang show.
Impact started the way every single Impact of 2011 has begun. Somebody came out, and they called somebody else out to the ring to join them. Just once, can we start with like a match or something?
No, of course not.
Kurt came out, called out Bobby Roode. Fans were chanting next world champ. Kurt said that Roode had beaten everybody. He'd beaten everyone in Fortune over the past couple weeks, but he said he was not Kazarian or AJ Styles or James Storm. He was Kurt Angle, the greatest wrestler who ever put on boots. He won a gold medal. He won world titles everywhere he went, and he dominated Impact for 5 years by himself, he said. Conveniently forgetting the whole main event mafia thing. Said at Bound for Glory, he would prove he was the greatest wrestler of all time. He offered a handshake, but Roode grabbed his own mic. He talked about what it took to be a champion. Said the man with the bigger heart will survive. Talked about Kurt winning a gold medal with a broken neck. And he wanted to find out who had the biggest heart. And he proposed a unique idea, a one-on-one wrestling match. Angle accepted. He went to leave. And then he stopped and said, oh, by the way, you have one more tune-up match tonight against Gunner and Jeff Jarrett in a handicap match. It was a fine segment. And the most notable thing I got out of it is that Kurt Angle appears to be growing a pencil-thin mustache.
That's my...
Men were fighting backstage. Was Rob Van Dam, AJ Styles, Chris Daniels, and Jerry Lynn. After commercial, the four-man brawl down to the ring and it turned into a tag match. Pretty fun TV tag match, all sorts of big moves. Rob Van Dam hit a monkey flip on Chris Daniels that Daniels may still be in orbit after this one. So the finish was... AJ was about to finish off Daniels, but Jerry Lynn made the save. But then when AJ had Lynn set for the Styles Clash, Daniels chose not to save him because AJ saw him coming, and Daniels backed off, and AJ hit the Styles Clash and pinned Lynn. So Daniels is still afraid to face AJ one-on-one, face-to-face. And this leads to...
All right, I'm back. We actually had an emergency situation there, which is why I completely ignored you when you finished talking about the opening segment.
I thought you just didn't care.
No, my computer froze for the first time ever, actually. And I thought we had lost this show.
And?
Everything's fine now.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. It's all
working.
working.
Pause and go back and check?
No, I just ran Task Manager and I shut down a website, not even a website, just a whole browser, and now it's working again. So everything's fine, everybody. Continue.
All right.
Although now I'm afraid to open up my report again, because that's what seemed to crash it last time, which is odd. Let me try this again. Isn't this exciting, everybody? All right. Everything seems to be going okay. Let's just see if it was the Impact report that crashed everything. It seems to be working. All right. Well, proceed. I don't think he's getting a pencil-thin mustache.
Angle?
Yeah.
It sure looked like it. It's hard to tell because he has stubble all over his face.
Sure.
But it's thickest immediately above his upper lip.
Maybe he just drank some chocolate milk.
I hadn't thought of that.
Mm-hmm. Where were we?
AJ Styles pinned Jerry Lynn to win a tag match.
That's right. I was, obviously, this is, just your typical lazy booking. There's four guys having two matches at the pay-per-view, so we'll put them all in tag match. It's all fine and dandy, except the way this match was worked, when it was over, I was like, man, I cannot wait to see AJ versus Daniels. And then I realized, I don't give a shit about RVD versus Lynn.
No, that's true.
This match did absolutely nothing to build up RVD versus Lynn. And in fact, by the time the match was over, it was like, why would I want to see RVD and Lynn? Lynn just got beat. Why the hell is it a Full Metal Mayhem match? What the fuck is a Full Metal Mayhem match? Is that TLC?
Yes.
I don't even know.
Yes, it is.
All right.
And, we'll get to AJ and Daniels later. Samoa Joe wrestled Matt Morgan.
Nothing like a TLC match with a guy that just came off back surgery, by the way. That's nice.
Well, they're idiots.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe wrestled Matt Morgan. Samoa Joe, the biggest loser of 2011. He has to be. He's in control.
Well, Morrison.
Excellent point. He had Morgan set up on the turnbuckles, tried a muscle buster, but Morgan fought him off. He dodged, he charged in the turnbuckles, and he schoolboyed Joe and pinned him. Sucks to be Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe clipped the knee. He's going to put on the heel hook when Crimson limped down with a chair to make the save. Joe said he was tired of fighting two guys at once and tired of having one of them always make the save when he was going to finish the other one off. He challenged them to a three-way and said that they can either be the alpha male or they can be friends.
Gotta say something here. People don't think I'm a fair man, but I am a fair man. I am the fairest man since, was it Snow White? Who was the fairest of them all? Anyway, the point is, some of you are aware of this, some of you may not be. Do you remember, Vinny, when Crimson cut a promo on Dave and I on Twitter?
No.
He was very, very upset.
You mentioned you guys by name?
No, but what happened was we did a radio show, and I believe it was a free show, and we talked about how god-awful his punches were.
Okay.
And the next day on Twitter, he said, I would be happy to have you two reporters or something like that. Why don't you take one of my punches? Which is actually an ironic statement.
Would prove nothing.
I was talking about how shitty his punches were, and then he wanted me to take one of his shitty punches. I don't understand what he was trying to... Well, was he going to really punch me? Because that would prove you're an even worse worker.
Correct. That would prove your point.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, I do not hold a grudge against Crimson for his childish behavior, daring to call me out for criticizing his shitty punches, which were in fact very shitty. Anyway, the point I'm making here is that Crimson here on this show, I got to give 2 thumbs up for limping down to the ring. I mean, how many times have we seen, particularly in WWE lately, a guy gets his ass handed to him at a pay-per-view, and he just walks out on Raw? None the worse for wear. You know, Hunter just did it a couple of weeks back. You know, he was in this supposed war with CM Punk, and then he just comes out none the worse for wear the next night on the show. Here's Crimson that got his leg hurt last week, and now he limped out on the show this week, so good for him. And he's been cutting good promos lately.
Sure.
With that said, his punches still suck. I'm just kidding. I haven't even watched it.
He didn't punch anybody here today.
It was fine.
They aired a commercial for a Best of Jeff Hardy DVD. I got a Hardy fuck off.
Get it?
I didn't even mean it that way, actually. It just happened. Mexican America was in the ring. We had another segment where someone went to the ring for a promo and called out somebody else. He called out Inc. They came out. Jesse pointed out that Mexican America live in America. They all jibber-jabbered for a while. A brawl broke out until Christina Von Eerie debuted. She ran out. She's got like a spiked, I guess it's not technically a mohawk since she has hair on her head, but it's shorter there. And she took out Rosita and Sarita. And the guys took out the Mexican guys. And they threatened to expose Anarchia's tattoo, which is apparently somewhere below the belt line. Hernandez saved him. And Jesse told them to bring all the women they want to the pay-per-view because they've got theirs with them. They did not name this woman, by the way.
Here's what he said. I dare one of these 2 internet geeks to take one of my punches. Internet geek? Now I am offended. Anyway, go on.
We had a match that confused me. Apparently it was a tag match eventually. I thought for a while it was a singles match of Jesse Neal. The hell? Sorensen.
Jesse Sorensen,
That's
the
why I got
football
confused.
player.
It was Jesse Sorensen and Brian Kendrick versus Austin Aries and Kid Cash. Another fun TV tag match. And it came down to... they did a spot where Sorensen went to hit a football tackle on Aries, but Aries dodged, and Sorensen hit Cash, and both men tumbled out of the ring. And Aries set this up, and he waited, and he waited, and he's staring at the monitor to make sure he knows when to move. And he waits, and he waits, and he waits. And finally, Sorensen charges. And they do the spot. So now the ref's back is turned. He's looking at the 2 men out of the ring.
Awesomeness occurred.
Austin Aries grabs his championship belt. And he puts his fingers to his lips to silence the crowd. And don't tell the ref I'm cheating. The ref then turns around before he even swings. That's... what the hell? Happens every show. So he misses a shot with the belt. Brian Kendrick hits a super kick. Austin Aries drops the belt. Kendrick grabs him, hits a sliced bread number 2, and the back of Aries' head hits what? Why, the title belt he dropped.
Yes.
He dropped it in perfect position to take this move.
Austin Aries is the best man alive. You know, I bitch all the time about people doing belt swinging and shit like that right in front of the referee. But I'm not even going to complain about this one because the finish was so well done that it worked. And some people got on me because there was a finish like this on the ROHI pay-per-view involving Brutal Bob. And people were like, oh, how come you didn't hate that one? Because that finish involved interference, and it was well done, and it played into the story of the match, and it was actually good. It was a good, fun finish. That's what this was here. I don't even care that he swung right in front of the referee. He swung, he missed, he dropped he took the super kick, and as he is doing a spit spot, essentially, he throws the belt in exactly the perfect position so that when he gets hooked and hit with this move, he lands back of his head on the belt. It was fucking a thing of beauty, this finish here. So 2 thumbs up for the finish, 2 thumbs up for Austin Aries. Even Kendrick was good tonight, although he's now running around with no shoes on, which, number one, when you're a small guy, it's actually, personally, I wish I'd never had to wear boots because you move better. If you're a guy that, relies on a little bit of acrobatics, it's a lot easier without shoes on, particularly if you were a gymnast when you never had to wear shoes. But you also are shorter, number one. And number two, the only time I ever worked without shoes, I, of course, broke my little toe. So don't wrestle without your shoes on, everybody. But Brian Kendrick, I'm sure at some point will learn that lesson. This was fun.
Velvet, Mickie James, Winter, and Madison Rayne all came to the ring for a discussion, a verbal debate. Angelina was out there with Winter. Karen Jarrett and Tracy Brooks were out there with Madison. And it was actually Karen doing all the talking. She said nobody wanted the women on the Bound for Glory card. It was their biggest show of the year, and it was for classy people, and no one wanted the women there because they were, quote, five and dime street-walking hoes. Mm-hmm. Mainly, she said, Velvet. She said Velvet drew a crowd that was the scum of the earth, the bottom of the barrel, and pathetic losers. She called herself a role model for the female race. Velvet finally said, what just happened?
I was scratching my back.
With the mic?
Well, the way I moved, I hit it with my shoulder.
All right.
I apologize, everybody.
Okay, I
pulled a Vinny.
I cannot throw stones on this one. I just want to know what happened. Velvet said, you'll respect me when I win the title. Karen said that would happen over her dead body. At this point, Velvet shoved Karen and Tracy, who was, of course, Karen's assistant, against her will. She had gotten on her hands and knees behind Karen, and that tripped her up. This resulted in a brawl breaking out. The women all came out in high-heeled shoes and boots, and most of them kicked their footwear off. Angelina had these high-heeled giant boots on she could not kick off, and just being grabbed and thrown through the ropes out of the ring nearly killed her. So that was scary. And they brawled for a while, and nothing happened.
Fine review. Let me add some insight into this, since that's what people pay for on this program.
How dare you?
Karen is an awesome heel, and the people hate her, and this was a great promo. Unfortunately, it is not Karen versus Velvet at the pay-per-view, so I was left befuddled. How's that for insight?
Much better. Mm-hmm. AJ was backstage bitching about how he and Daniels used to be best friends, and now their wives aren't talking and their kids can't play together. Well, I should hope so, honestly. This is not like a dispute over an unpaid dinner tab or something. This is two men who have been violently attacking each other. I would stop my children from playing with his kids, too. So as he's bitching, Daniels attacked him, choked him for a while, and vowed to make him say I quit on Sunday. And I think this was the official announcement they are having an I quit match.
Doesn't AJ live in, like, the Carolinas or something wacky? Where does he live?
He's hailed from Georgia.
That's right. Georgia, that's right. And Daniels is from L.A.
Are you implying, Brian, their kids may not actually play together?
That's what I'm suggesting here. How often are their kids...
Something's fishy.
Maybe the kids aren't hanging out because you guys fucking live 2,000 miles away. You ever thought of that, AJ? I did like how when Daniels is choking him with the chain, he goes, I could finish this right now. And I'm like, what, kill him?
Murder him, yes.
The fuck?
On camera.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine setting up a match with stupid stips.
Mr. Anderson versus Scott Steiner. Bully Ray was at ringside. At one point, Anderson made a cover. Ray pulled him outside, so Anderson just clotheslined him, got right back in the ring, the match continued.
I got to talk about this finish.
Okay.
Earlier tonight, we were talking about the deal where the dude swung the belt and missed. And how many times on this show have we got into this discussion? Every time I say so-and-so swung the belt right in front of the referee. And that's the tone of voice I use when I say it. Right in front of the referee. And it was not a DQ. People on the board always say, well, Bryan, he didn't hit anyone with the belt. And, of course, I bring up, so I can bring a loaded firearm into the ring and threaten a man with it. And that's not a DQ until I actually pull the trigger. And actually, that's not a DQ either if I miss. If I shoot at a guy with a gun and I happen to miss, it's okay. But if I have a shotgun, for example, and I blast him, then it's a disqualification. I'm disqualified from the matchup. Anyway, people are like, you got to hit the guy for it to be a DQ. Well, in fact, motherfuckers, in this match, Abyss came down to the ring. We'll get to that in a minute, by the way. Abyss came down to the ring with a fucking giant chain. And Steiner held Anderson so that Abyss could hit him with a chain. Abyss swings a chain, Anderson ducks, and Abyss, with a chain wrapped around his fist, cold cocks Scott Steiner right in the fucking face, right in front of the fucking referee. Do you, dear listener, think this was a disqualification? The answer, in fact, is no. Of course it wasn't a fucking disqualification. So fuck TNA. I hated this whole thing. This was back to TNA being bullshit again. So anyway, they... So
to play devil's advocate, in your mind, Scott Steiner should have won via DQ.
Sure, or just throw the fucking match out and call it a no contest.
That makes more sense. All right.
Jesus Christ, if I jump the fucking cage and hit someone with a chair, you think they're just going to let the match continue?
There was a boxing match where a guy with a fan hit the ring, and once they got that cleared out, the fight continued.
This is not okay, everyone. Not okay. And by the way, on that subject, where in the fuck has Abyss been?
That's actually...
The answer is he's been in Mexico. But in the world of TNA, where's he been?
No mention.
He just suddenly came out all of a sudden for, like, no reason. Yeah. This segment, let's just pretend this segment didn't happen, because I'm not really all that down on TNA right now, especially after Raw, but this goddamn segment sucked.
James Storm was pondering life backstage.
Oh, one more thing about that last segment, though. Mm-hmm. So they beat up what's his face?
Yeah, we didn't get into the whole thing. There's a lot more.
They beat up Anderson after he pinned Steiner, after Steiner's been hit in the face with a fucking chain right in front of the referee. And then all the Immortal run down, and they start screaming at Abyss. They jump him. Anderson is just gone. You know, he went to the back. And they beat the hell out of Abyss. They pound on him, they stomp on him, they grab a table, and they're about to put him on a table, and who should come out to make the save but Mr. Anderson? Where had he been?
He left.
Did he go backstage and take a piss?
Maybe.
He walked backstage when this occurred, and then decided to wait a good 45, 60 seconds before he decided to run back out. What were you doing back there?
Maybe he was signing autographs.
This segment was atrocious.
James Storm was pondering life backstage, and I mean that. He was just sitting silently with his hands folded, pondering his fate in life. Kurt Angle interrupted his meditation. He said Storm he'd had a week to think about how he could have beaten Bobby Roode. And Storm said, no, I had a week to think about how you rammed my head in the stairs. And Kurt says, yeah, I rammed your head in the stairs, but it was your buddy who pinned you and took advantage of you. Storm says, I talked to Roode, he knew nothing. And Kurt said, okay, you talked to Roode, I guess that makes it okay. And he backed off, and Storm made clear through facial expression that he did not really think it was okay.
The key to this, actually, well, one of the keys to this, the important thing, is last week when they did a Bobby Roode James Storm match, and Kurt Angle ended up running it and costing James Storm the match, which made absolutely no sense. And being a fair man, as I've stated many times that I am, I said, you know what? New booker, Bruce Pritchard is in there. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they've got some sort of follow-up plan. And what they did here was Kurt Angle came out and he said, you know, I know it's driving you crazy thinking about how you could have beaten Roode if it wasn't for me. And then they did the rest of the whole thing right here. So this could, in fact, play into the storyline at some point. Angle is trying to drive a rift between them. He's trying to place doubt in James Storm's head. He's trying to make James Storm all pissed off, hoping that he's going to run in at the pay-per-view and cost Roode the match. So, good work, TNA. At least they tried to make it make sense.
Sure. No, I think it makes total sense.
Sure.
Right. We had a great segment. It was the main event, as you recall, was Jeff Jarrett and Gunner in a handicap match against Bobby Roode. So it's the two of them standing there, Jeff Jarrett and Gunner, and Jarrett's cutting this good promo. How Bobby Roode's success is going to end tonight. He can't stand up to the two of us, and we're going to take him down, and we're going to beat him. And he cuts his promo for like 30 seconds, and then Gunner just smiles, fade to black. Awesome.
Yeah.
I thought this was awesome. We got another Bobby Roode video package talking about how people identify with him. He's just a hardworking guy. He said guys had come and gone from different companies, and older fans knew the older guys, but it was time for a fresh face. And then we got Kurt Angle's side of things. He said Roode was the one with the pressure on his shoulders. He said Bobby Roode had a lot to prove, whereas I've already proven everything.
The one thing about this, I thought this was awesome, 99% awesome. The one thing that was a little weird about it was outside of the video, Angle is like a dastardly, conniving heel who's trying to turn Bobby Roode's friends against him. In this video, he's just straight up competitor. If we wrestled 100 times, he says, Bobby Roode, you might win one of them. But we're wrestling one time.
Yeah.
What are the odds you're beating me that one time? Yeah, it's just kind of weird. It's like it's kind of in a different universe than what's actually going on television. But it was a hell of a video. It was awesome.
We had Bobby Roode versus Jeff Jarrett and Gunner. It was good. This is kind of a nitpick, but the comeback was the heels hit a double suplex, and then they got up and started yammering to the crowd, and behind them, Bobby Roode shook off this double suplex like Goldberg and fired up and started his comeback.
You want to know why that was actually awesome?
Okay.
Because they didn't play this up, I guess, but the heels hit the beer money suplex.
Ah, I
He
see.
no-sold it. They're not going to hit him with his own damn move. And besides, a double suplex, for Christ's sake. Anyway.
Yeah. Other than that, it was totally fine, and the finish actually was really good. The finish, Roode trapped Jarrett in the crossface, and Gunner went to sneak up from behind, but Gunner let go of Jarrett, got to his feet, hooked Gunner in the crossface, and now Jarrett was debilitated. He could not save, and Gunner had to tap out. So yes, Bobby Roode, his winning streak continues. He beat two men here, including a multiple-time TNA champion. So that was all good.
Great.
Yeah, it was great. Immortal hit the ring. James Storm ran down to fight them off, but he was soon overwhelmed. Kurt Angle came out, and they were about to kill Bobby Roode when Jeff Hardy made the save. Place was going apeshit. Hardy ran wild. Heels bailed, fled to the back, so it was down to Roode, Storm, and Hardy in the ring. Hardy offered his handshake after he had just saved these two men. James Storm turned him down. So he turned to Roode, he offered his hand, and Roode thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and the fans were cheering, shake his hand, and finally, Roode did, and he shook Jeff's hand and raised it. So Jeff went to leave, but Storm blocked his exit a few times, and he thought things might get physical, and then both of Beer Money grabbed Jeff's hands and raised them, so they're all friends now. Mm-hmm. For now.
I was just wondering why on the go-home segment for the Bobby Roode-Kurt Angle match, it was all about Jeff Hardy.
Well, that's a great question.
I have no explanation for this whatsoever.
The Bobby Roode push it peaked a week early. So Hardy was backstage. He was talking about saving Roode when Jeff Jarrett interrupted. And then Jeff Jarrett cut an awesome promo on him. He said that they had known each other since Jeff had broken in. Said they'd had a friendship nobody had known about. And it's time for a friend to tell a friend he was out of chances. Said 3 days from now, the company I founded has its biggest show of the year, and you had better not set foot in the state of Pennsylvania. Hardy started to walk away, and Jarrett said, "Where are you going?" Hardy said he's buying a ticket to Philadelphia, and Jeff was pissed. I thought Jeff Jarrett was a king of men here. No reaction. All right. We had the contract signing.
He was good. He was good.
Hogan,
I didn't think this was the best promo of all time. In fact, you want to know what the best promo of all time was?
Hulk Hogan in the next segment?
That was pretty goddamn good. I'm not going to lie. But Hulk Hogan calling out Tim Tebow. Did you see this on the front page today?
Yeah, neither you nor Hogan can pronounce the man's name.
I just pronounced it the way he did. I don't give a shit. This was an awesome promo, everybody. Have a listen.
Can you motivate motivate
Gotta be honest.
Tim
he was
Tebow
really
and the
good.
Denver Broncos?
Well, you know, Tim Tebow looks like my shadow at high noon, brother. You know, at the end of the day, my arms are bigger than his legs. And,
Not
you
true,
know,
by the way.
I can make his back crack, his knees freeze, or his liver quiver just by pointing at him, brother. So at the end of the day, if you want to be the bigger motivator, you got to have millions and millions of TiVo maniacs, which you don't, on your side. And that's why my millions of Hulkamaniacs, when I start tearing this shit apart and ripping it apart, everybody wants to know, what's she gonna do when Tim Tebow, when Hulkamania runs wild on you?
Awesome. When Hulk Hogan is on, dude, he's the best. Just really is.
There's a reason he's Hulk Hogan.
There's a reason he's Hulk Hogan. I mean, Hogan does a lot of things. He says a lot of things, and I don't even want to get into his personal life. But as a performer, as a professional wrestler,
As a pro wrestler.
as a professional fucking wrestler, there's a reason that Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan. Because when he is on, he is awesome. That was the fucking best promo right there. You know what's so awesome about it? It's like, it was just out of nowhere. You know, they're doing a segment. They just said, you have a few words here for Tim Tebow, or whatever his fucking name is.
You got it. There you go.
Yeah, you have a couple of words for Tim Tebow here. And the guy hadn't even finished his request. And Hogan just went.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just went. And you can hear from the crowd. It's funny to watch the two hosts. Because one of the hosts is like pacing back and forth, and he pops the question, so to speak, and all of a sudden Hogan just explodes, and you can see the woman next to him, her eyes grow wide, and she just backs off, like, holy fuck, what's going on here? And Hogan starts his promo, and you know, the crowd's quiet, and he throws out the first line about how Tim Tebow looks like my shadow at high noon, brother, and everyone goes, oh, and they get quiet again, and he has a line about, my arm is bigger than his leg, and everyone goes, oh, and they get quiet again. And then he fucking gets moving, and now they just are cheering. And they're cheering louder and louder, and they don't stop, and they're just going nuts. God damn, he was awesome here. He was awesome. And he was awesome in the main event, the final segment here on Impact as well. It's too bad that he's old and he's broken down.
Yeah.
And he can't do nothing no more. Because, god damn, that guy can talk. God damn, he can talk. You know, I watched it and it was like, wrestling is not what it used to be. Hogan, if this were like 25 years ago, he'd have been like the greatest manager of all time. You know, just going out there and cutting promos for his
Hogan
guys.
of today.
Yeah.
Yes, I see.
You know, at his age. You know, it's too bad he's so big, and it's just too bad that he'd just completely overshadow everybody. But, you know, you think about a guy, you know, when people think about Lou Albano, most people, when they think of Lou Albano, they forget that Lou Albano was a wrestler before he became a manager. And he was no Hulk Hogan or anything like that. But, you know, Hulk Hogan, if he were just like a manager today, you know, not a guy who like has to be the centerpiece of everything and he's got to be in matches and shit like that, but just a guy that goes out there and he's somebody's mouthpiece. God damn, he would be awesome. It would never work nowadays because he just, I mean, if you put him in WWE, I mean, obviously you'd have to have a guy, I don't know who you'd have him manage, but, I mean, he'd completely overshadow everybody in that role. I mean, it would just be preposterous. And it's too bad because what do you do with him now? You know what I mean? He's too old to work. You know, the whole heel thing that he's doing right now, it's like, you know, it's just kind of lame. You know, wow, Hulk Hogan, he's mean. He sicks people on whatever. It's just kind of lame. But, I mean, just to be the guy that goes out there and cuts those kind of promos for his guy, building up pay-per-view matches, it'd be so awesome. But it's too late. Just can't be done anymore. They've ruined the business for Hulk Hogan.
They have. It's sad.
And Hogan, sure is in some ways responsible.
and well aware.
He was the centerpiece of WCW there at the end.
That's true. So we had the main event angle. It was the Sting Hogan contract signing. They signed basically right away. And then Borash asked Hogan if he had anything to say. Hogan stood up, flipped the table over. Sting stood up, and they went face to face. Hogan said Sting had been dancing around him for 30 years. Said they'd had one brief encounter in the past, but Sting was happy when it was done.
Probably true, given them match.
Actually, it's entirely possible. He said that if Sting had wanted to fight him anytime since then, it would not have been hard to find him. He'd been fighting all over the world. And now Sting had come along in the twilight of Hogan's career when he was trying to help the company and Sting was picking a fight. He said he was going to save the company, something Sting and the originals couldn't get done. Said it would be his last match. It would be the fight of Sting's life. No games, no interference, man on man. You've got my word on it. It was a fine promo, much better than what I did here. He offered his hand. Sting accepted. And then Bischoff came out on the ramp to interrupt. He started ranting about how Sting had put his hands on him. And it was just a distraction so Hogan could hit Sting in the back with a chair. He did. And he stopped him in the corner and shouted at him and talked smack when he's showing off the air.
Yeah, maybe a little too physical there at the end. But then again, on the other hand, I mean, Hogan threw a punch. He stomped on him in the corner. He didn't do anything he couldn't do. Mm-hmm. You had a good 15, 20 seconds of violence. And at least it kind of sent the message that, Hogan can do something on Sunday. It's not going to be like, I don't know what he can do, but at least we saw that he can do something and not just completely burst into dust.
He did not fall down in agony in this spot. No. So I thought this was a very good segment. I just, Hogan's great. This is easy 30,000 buys for this show, which when you really think about it, astounding.
In the grand scheme of the universe is an awful number. But in the universe of TNA, that's better than the last 4 pay-per-views put together. So it'll be a success. It'll be their most purchased pay-per-view of the year. They've done the best they could. This literally, they've done the best they could. I've seen the build to a lot of TNA pay-per-views in the last 10 years, and God knows a lot of them have been god-awful. 95% of them probably the go-home shows. But this was a great go-home show. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. I say 30,000, but you know what? Sunday's going to come, and I would not be surprised if a lot of people listening to this just thought, you know what? It's maybe Hulk Hogan's last career match, and it's Hogan versus Sting, and they're going to kind of feel like little kids again, and they're going to buy the show. So if in the end I hear that this show did 45,000 or even 50,000 buys, I'm not going to be blown away. I'm not going to be stunned. Right now, doing this show, I don't think it's going to happen. But come Sunday, I may change my mind. So we'll talk about that on Wrestling Observer Live. All right, before we go, and by the way, the answer to the question, they did not fuck it up on the go-home show. So way to go, TNA.
That's true. That's an excellent point.
Way to go, TNA. To the back! Well, they don't.
Yes.
That's essentially what they do now. Let's talk about the TNA pay-per-view.
Sucked.
Really? I thought it was fine, except for the main event finish.
It was, by the standards of TNA shows, it was pretty average. The only thing I really hated was the women's 4-way.
So it couldn't have sucked that bad.
Yeah. But the finish sucked.
Yeah? You do know what they did today, don't you?
I'm aware there was a development in the story.
There was a development. And it's funny. Everybody, spoiler alert, not that anybody really cares about TNA spoilers, but there are people on our board that are expecting me to rant and rave about the fact that they made James Storm the champion. Why in God's name would I rant and rave about that? I'm the biggest James Storm fan around. And, listen, Bobby Roode should have got the title on Sunday. They built it up for so long that a lot of people bought that show because they were expecting to see Bobby Roode elevated to championship status in WWE.
Or TNA.
Or whatever. I got a lot of letters. There were a lot of very, very unhappy people that they paid their money and the title did not change hands. And it did make Bobby Roode look like a dork. Which, like I said Sunday, if Bobby Roode is not the guy, if you're like Hulk Hogan and you believe this guy is not the guy, fine. Put the title on him. In 2 months, James Storm beats him. Mm-hmm. So at least he's not the guy, but you know what? When the chips were down, he didn't fail. Because babyfaces don't fail when the chips are down. Or they're dorks. So, I would have put the title on him. With that said, if you're not going to put the title on Bobby Roode on Sunday, this was the best possible thing you could do. And yes, for those of you wondering, they are directly ripping off ROH and the Eddie Edwards-Davey Richards feud that started at Final Battle, where everybody expected Davey to win the title. He didn't. And then Eddie won the title. And then they had the deal was a tag team, and that built up to Davey beating Eddie. That's exactly what they're doing.
Well, that was great.
Sure. So that's what they're trying to do here. And, in the hands of Cornette and Delirious, I'm sure this would be great. In the hands of Pritchard and Russo, I'm not sure. But you should be able to do this right if you have any sort of clue whatsoever. So, like I said, I'd have put the title on him Sunday, but if you're not gonna, this was the absolute best possible thing you could have done. So we just have to see where they go with it. But, boy, were people pissed off. The letters I got on Sunday night from fans.
Yeah?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yep. I was more just gobsmacked than anything. Like, I just thought, really, you're that dumb? You built this up for so long, and then... But it wasn't even... to be honest, I can't say it wasn't TNA's fault, because it was a Hulk Hogan call, but they could have overruled him. But they didn't. Because, see, it's Hulk Hogan.
I don't care whose fault it was.
It's Hulk Hogan, and so
I don't give a shit whose fault it was.
Presumption is he knows what he's doing.
The result is that it sucked.
Well, sure.
So there you go.
I'm just saying,
And that was the best match on the show.
What? I thought the Austin Aries match was much better.
No, that was actually good, too. But, yes, I don't know. I don't got much else to say about this, except Hulk Hogan, immobile and virtually crippled, is still fantastic at being Hulk Hogan. Mm-hmm. Even though his face turn made absolutely no sense.
Nah, I didn't mind it.
Sting beat him up, or excuse me, Sting beat him in a match. His friends beat up Sting, and then he decided to help Sting.
Well,
losing a match made him have a change of consciousness?
Sure.
Is that the right word? Change of morality?
He had a change in consciousness, yes. He became unconscious.
Okay, that was not the right word. But yeah, there's a women's four was a mess.
You know what? It didn't make sense.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm done.
It didn't make sense, but let me tell you something. I would have probably hated it with any other people in the entire world. But Joker Sting on his knees going, please help me, Hulk. Just like, it's like, I don't know. It's so wacky.
Well,
and then, for some reason, and again, in this case, I don't care why, Hulk Hogan looks to the right. Hulk Hogan looks to the left.
Yes.
And everybody starts to cheer.
He is still the absolute best in the world at being Hulk Hogan.
And you want to know what? In a way, it makes sense. Sting asked for his help, and Hogan looked left, and Hogan looked right, and the Hulkamaniac started to go nuts. And the Hulkster remembered what it was like to be Hulk Hogan, the real American hero. And he looked left and right again, and they started going even more crazy. And then he started shaking his fists, and they were starting to get on their feet and stomp up and down. And then it was just, he couldn't take it anymore. He had to be the old Hulkster again. And he ripped off the shirt, and they went nuts, and he made his big comeback. Hot damn! It was great.
It was the best part of the show.
It was great. If it's his last match, it's what the heel does at the end. In every story. At the end of the day for the heel, he sees the light, and he makes the big comeback. It's just like Darth Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi. He's done for, but goddamn it, he's going to save his son before the end. And
spoiler!
That's what Hulk Hogan... Spoiler alert! That's for those of you that haven't watched the Blu-ray. That's what Hulk Hogan did here. And like I said, anybody else, it didn't make a lot of sense. But you know what? Hulk is so great at being Hulk, and he pulled that off so perfectly, and the people wanted to see it so bad. And like I said, hopefully it is his last match. So this was his last chance! So I was fine with it. Vinny, you got to think about what we expected with that match.
That is true. I expected worse than we got. That is certainly true.
I expected it to be the worst match on the show, and I knew the women were having a four-way. I didn't think that he could do anything.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, he couldn't. He did nothing
he took
very
three
well.
bumps.
He did nothing very well.
When the show began, Chris Rising was over here. He asked us, do you think Hulk Hogan will take a bump tonight? I scoffed. Scoffed!
Well, I did too, because I didn't think he'd be that stupid.
He took 3 bumps.
But you know what?
Hope he's okay.
I even hate to say this because I know some people are going to interpret it badly, and I don't really mean it like this, but I did think when I was watching Hogan sometimes gets in his mood where he wants to bury all the young guys today, and he starts talking about how these young guys just don't know how it's done. And when I watched Hulk Hogan out there being unable to do a goddamn thing, and when he did his Hulk Hogan thing at the end, that got the biggest pop of the night. And there were people on our board asking, was that the biggest pop in the history of TNA? That's saying something, everybody. That guy knows how to get everything out of nothing.
Yes.
And very few people know how to do that. Now, does that mean Hulk Hogan should be on top?
No.
Fuck no! He got to try to push Bobby Roode and all these young guys. But he does have a point. That it is true, the young guys today could learn something from Hulk Hogan and how to get more out of less. Because boy, did he ever on Sunday night. Never have you seen a man get more out of less. So I thought that whole thing was great. But I don't need to see him wrestle again. And the main event finish was stupid. And goddamn if that wasn't ever the worst women's match in a long time. That match sucked. What did you rate that match?
I believe I actually closed my notes. Usually, after I watch a show and you say, let's not talk about it, I get upset because I figure I have wasted time watching it then. Today, I do not care. I don't want to talk about any of this. TNA pay-per-view open.
You really want to talk about SmackDown?
No. I don't want to talk about any. I don't want to talk about any of these shows we watched. They all sucked. I had the women's three-way at -3 stars.
Wow. I only had -2.
I will just read. I've forgotten everything about it already. I will simply read what my notes say. It was Winter versus Velvet Sky versus Mickie James versus Madison Rayne, for those of you who give a shit. And I should add, it came after a horrible segment with Eric Bischoff and Jackson James, which put me in a foul mood anyway. So, Taz says Velvet gets the crowd, quote, aroused. Madison uses an object the announcers cannot identify. A napkin or something. Winter breaks up a Madison pin. Heels bicker. Karen orders them both to tag out. Karen refuses to count their pins, so why are they even wrestling? Now all 4 women are in the ring. What a pile of bullshit this is. This is getting beyond zero reaction. It takes about 6 years, capital letters, to spit blood into Karen's face. Mickie with a DDT, no ref. Tracy arrives. Quote, and I have no idea who I'm quoting. What the hell is going on here? Indeed. Velvet hits a wacky X Factor. Tracy counts the pin, and Velvet wins the belt. All capital letters. Do not cry, you. She didn't.
She didn't.
And by the way, I was sober when I wrote this.
Oh, my.
This is the thoughts I have watching TNA.
Vinny, someday when you have children. Oh, interesting.
What?
I was waiting for you to say I'm never going to have children, and you didn't.
Oh, no, I was going to let you finish your thought.
Uh-huh.
I do not plan on having children, but
you
go
will
ahead.
someday. Someday, your children are going to go on Wikipedia. They're going to find out you were a wrestler. Actually, I think your Wikipedia was disabled. They'll go online and find out that you were a wrestler. And they're going to say, Daddy, show us one of your matches. And you're going to be able to bust out Bryan and Vinny, the Battle of the Empire on DVD. And you're going to be able to show them the match where you won the YWF heavyweight title, beating me clean in the middle with a reversal of a figure 4 leg lock. And you will not be completely embarrassed, especially after the part where you throw me into the kiddie pool. Imagine Velvet Sky someday when her kids go, Mommy, we saw on your Wikipedia that you once won the TNA Divas Championship. Can we watch that match? Imagine what she's going to have to show those little buggers. That bullshit that we watched on Sunday. That's a sad thing. That's why she didn't cry. She should have cried.
It's, I don't know if it's better or worse, but Bret Hart's first world title win over Ric Flair was apparently so bad they had never put it on any DVD or anything.
I don't know if that's actually true.
I think Bret himself has said this.
Really? Because I've seen that match and it was not horrible. It was not great. I think I do recall Bret really hated that match, but it was not a horrible match. It was a fine match. It was better than this.
That's true.
To the back. I would never do that.
Impact opened with the longest promo of all time.
No.
No?
And actually, you know what? It may have been the longest sustained interview segment in history.
I would be stunned if it was not.
It went 39 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. 39 minutes, everybody. This interview segment lasted for 39 minutes.
There may have been other shows where there were more continuous minutes of talking, but this was essentially one giant segment.
It's one giant segment. People just kept coming down to the ring,
One
and
person
they
leave
just kept talking.
Yep. The segment never ended. It had commercial breaks.
Well, it ended in 39 minutes.
Well, sorry, it eventually ended.
I want facts on this show, Vinny, not speculation and exaggeration.
You have the wrong co-host.
Go ahead.
Sting came out. Joker Sting's dead. He's in fact, makeup Sting may be dead. He's wearing designer jeans, a fancy T-shirt, sunglasses, no makeup. It's
so wacky.
Seeing him as a normal human now.
It's just so funny. It's like, so why do some days you dress up in Sgt. Pepper outfit with Joker face paint on, and other days you come out in jeans and a T-shirt and sunglasses? That's kind of wacky.
Well, he did. In fact, he addressed this. He said in the past 6 months he had gone out of his comfort zone, basically saying he had been pretending the entire time. Oh, I should also point out there's a video package to open the show that focused on Sting and Dixie Carter and Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, and not Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode.
Well, that's not important.
They were apparently not. So he said that all he had ever wanted to do was get the company back to Dixie, get the real Hulk to come back. And he said he had, as noted, he had to go out of his comfort zone, but he got Hogan to do the right thing. Hogan came out, admitted he had been wrong, said he had had some rough years to become a follower instead of a leader. He said it was thanks to Sting he was back here in red and yellow. He saw a pack of wolves attacking Sting. He realized he was embarrassed to hang out with them, and there's only one thing to do. Fans were chanting, "You still got it," which one of your guests misinterpreted as "crucify them." Clap, 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 clap.
I don't know where they got that, but it was funny.
It was damn funny. No one was crucified here. Hogan congratulated Sting on his win. He said, "Thank you for all you've done for me," which, what did Sting do for him other than beat him up? And then get beat up himself?
Well, he brought back the old Hulk Hogan. He made him see the light.
I guess so. By being beat up.
I should mention that between these segments, there was a commercial break. There were actually like 3 commercial breaks because, as noted, this segment went 39 minutes. And in one of them, they had a plug for the new Jeff Hardy DVD. And in the DVD, of course, there is a shot of Kurt Angle saying, "I respect Jeff Hardy so much."
Of course.
You've got to be kidding
Sting,
me.
too.
You
I
fucking
guess Sting
idiots.
welcome back, but yeah.
You goddamn idiots.
That's TNA.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yes, Hogan thanked Sting for everything. He left. Sting called out Dixie Carter. He thanked her for bringing him back in the first place. Said it was a rough business. He hoped she had learned her lesson. Dixie said she should have listened to Sting. She was sorry for what happened. She wants it to be the best wrestling promotion in the world, so she needs to spend more time at headquarters. That term made me laugh.
That is what this company needs, is more Dixie Carter at headquarters.
At headquarters.
Yes.
HQ.
Yeah.
She should have said in our secret lair.
Because you see, everyone, Impact has been horrible for the last 18 months, so she needs to get back in charge.
It's funny you should mention this, Brian, because she said she needed Sting's help to run day-to-day operations of the company. She gave him full authority to run the show, and then she said they need to turn this thing around. Mm-hmm. That's all anyone ever does as TNA, is talk about how much it sucks.
I gotta go back to find out here how long this storyline has been going on, because she claims that she lost power 18 months ago. That can't possibly be true, is it?
The video thing started with 10, 10, 10, but even that would only be 13. Oh no, even that would be 12 months. I don't recall, and I don't care.
I'm trying to find out here. Here we go. Hold on. On October 14th, 2010. No, November 25, 2010. Oh, she lost her on-screen power on October 14th. What's today? October 21st? Mm-hmm. That's 12 months. Where's the other 6 months here we're talking about?
I don't know.
They may not be telling the truth.
She has been working with Hulk Hogan for more than a year.
Yeah, this has not been 18 months. This is a lie.
I was saying she's picked up his habits.
I hope
Andre
not.
the Giant was 9 feet tall and 14,000 pounds. Mm-hmm. So Sting and Dixie had a hug, at which point Mike Tenay said, "Wow, what a great moment it is." That's what he said. So now Kurt Angle came out. He's still upset with Dixie. Said she was the reason he joined Immortal in the first place. So whether they liked it or not, he was going to do what he does best, represent the company as world champion. He said, for 30 days, you made Bobby Roode look like a hero. I made him look like a loser in 30 minutes.
That's true.
That is true. Roode came out, couldn't believe Angle was going to take this victory. Couldn't believe Kurt had to screw him by holding the ropes in the pin. So there's nothing he could do. The crowd, he was about to challenge him to a rematch when the crowd chanted bullshit. Sting cut him off, pointing to a Roode got screwed sign. He announced a world title match tonight. The crowd chanted next world champ. And Kurt said Roode was dangerous, and that's why he had Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan put in a clause saying Roode only got one title shot. So he's SOL. This brought out James Storm. He said since Roode had been screwed, he kind of got screwed too. So he challenged Kurt for tonight. Kurt said, no, there's 10 contenders in front of you. Sting said, fuck you, you're wrestling James Storm. And,
did we mention this was 39 minutes long?
I think we recapped it here maybe 6.
God, if it was that long, I'd feel like killing myself.
Yeah.
39 minutes.
It finally ended there at that point. Sting booked the match for the main event. James Storm versus Kurt Angle with the TNA Championship on the line. Mm-hmm. Immortal confronted Hulk Hogan in the parking lot. They said they wanted to say goodbye their way in the ring.
And by the way, yes, this was more talking.
Yeah. If Hogan had any balls left, he would meet Bischoff one-on-one in the ring later.
Why was Eric Bischoff challenging Hulk Hogan? Eric Bischoff suddenly decided I can beat up the Hulkster.
Eric Bischoff had 4 men around him.
Well, I guess that's true. A coward.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for nitpicking that. I will not nitpick the following, though.
We had a wrestling match.
We waited 42 minutes, and we got Winter and Angelina Love against Brooke, Tessmacher, and Tara.
That happened.
Yeah. I literally wrote... This is what I wrote about this match after waiting 45 minutes for a wrestling match. Tara got the hot tag and ran wild, broke down into a 4-way. Brooke made a blind tag and then hit a high cross for the pin.
That's actually more than I wrote.
That's my entire report of this match that I waited 42 minutes to see.
I merely said that did not warrant a 40-minute wait. Tara hits a double clothesline, nearly falls down. Brooke wins with a body press. Mm-hmm. And I have nothing else to add. Jeff Jarrett called out Jeff Hardy.
More talking.
And in fact, this talking was exactly the same thing they did in the pay-per-view. Jeff Jarrett came out of the ring. Then he called out Jeff Hardy, who got his own entrance. They went face-to-face. Jeff said he was the founder of TNA. He didn't want Hardy there. Nobody wanted Hardy there. Told him to leave or suffer the consequences. This was where our friend noted that Jeff Hardy had excellent bone structure. Mm-hmm. She was a fan of his ink. Everything about him, really. We tried to tell her about his checkered past. It was to no avail. So, not coincidentally, Jeff Hardy said Jeff Jarrett was jealous that he couldn't connect to the crowd like Hardy does.
That's true.
Or connect to our friends. So it ended up with them having a brawl. So, okay, fine.
How many times have we seen this fucking brawl?
This exact segment was in fact a replay of what happened last night, but they decided to throw in something new.
Last night? You mean Sunday?
Or yeah, Sunday. But yes. Yeah, no, not last night. Something new. The something new was, in the middle of Jeff Jarrett brawling with Jeff Hardy, we'll have 2 other men fight. Mm-hmm. Who could that be? Perhaps a friend of Jeff Hardy's and someone else an immortal? No. The 2 men who got into a fight during this were Al Snow and D'Lo Brown.
Swear to God, we're not making this up.
They were among the security geeks separating them, and I don't know what started, or who started it, or why, and I don't care. All I know is suddenly Al shoved D'Lo. D'Lo did his head bobble, and his belly also bobbled in 2011. And they started to go at it, and then Jeff Jarrett hit free. He kicked Jeff Hardy in the balls, and he left. That was the end of the segment.
This about blew.
Speaking of things that blow, Eric Young was on TV.
Actually, before you move on, let me recap this, everybody. We mentioned this before. If you had a pull-apart brawl where the dudes broke apart and got back at each other, and you did this once every 6 months, it would be awesome. Not only do we see this exact, with the exception of D'Lo Brown and Al Snow, Avatar, which did not make this better. With the exception of that, this was not only the exact same thing that we saw on Sunday, but if you don't get the pay-per-views, the climax spot, so to speak, of a punt to the nuts. Jeff Jarrett punting Jeff Hardy in the nuts. One of these guys got to change their name, let's be honest.
Yes.
The two Jeffs is bullshit. But one Jeff punting another Jeff in the testicles. It's the exact same thing we saw 2 weeks ago with AJ Styles and Chris Daniels. And they've got a creative team. That's what's called the creative team. Same shit every week. So there you go. Thought I'd mention that.
Eric Young appeared on TV. Always no buys. Robbie E and Rob Terry were also involved. I don't care.
They're bringing in someone from Jersey Shore.
And putting him with these guys.
Yeah.
You're bringing in, theoretically, a celebrity in to associate him with your stars. And you're putting him with Eric Young, Robbie E, and Rob Terry.
Yep.
Obviously, you have to have Robbie E in the segment, but come on now. Gunner came out, called out Abyss. So when you're in Immortal, you have to prove you belong at the top. He told Immortal he could finish the job they started last week. He's going to take out Abyss this week. Actually, this is a heck of a promo. Nothing wrong with Gunner, except his name, obviously. That's not his fault. So we had Gunner versus Abyss, the monster Abyss. Abyss beat him up for a while. Gunner finally was able to escape.
Did I tell the Gunner, Murphy, and Vince Russo story?
That he gave them a list of names.
And they literally chose Gunner. That Gunner isn't even so bad, but the guy that actually chose Murphy. You had a list of names and you chose Murphy?
I want to see the rest of the names.
What? Yeah, what else was on this list?
Oswald?
Finnegan? No offense if anyone here's listening, it's named Finnegan, but I mean...
Fauntleroy?
I don't know.
So, Abyss destroyed Gunner for a minute or two. Gunner was finally able to escape, and he ran to the back with a look of fear in his eyes, and he looked back to the ring and said, and this is a quote, "Fuck!" That was great. Velvet cut a promo backstage. She said the belt made everything worth it.
What a lie.
She had nobody to thank but the fans who backed her. Also a quote, 150,000%.
Is that mathematically possible? I guess it is.
I suppose if
but I think she's lying. I think she's exaggerating on a show in which that is not allowed.
It would be an exaggeration. Immortal was hanging around backstage. Gunner ran up, still in fear, tried to tell them that Abyss was not the Abyss they knew. He was scarier now. They told him to fuck off, essentially. Velvet came out. The TNA Knockouts champion, theoretically the best woman wrestler on the entire roster, got in the ring and pointed at her ass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She said living her dream was totally worth everything she had done. She tried to give the speech about how long she had been in this business and how long it took her to get here to the top of the mountain. Keep in mind we have listened in the past 30 days to nothing but Bobby Roode saying it took him 13 years. 13 years to get this shot. So now Velvet comes out on the same show and says, this took me 4 years.
Yeah.
That rings hollow. Now, after she said this, the fans chanted, who are apparently even more confused than she is, I swear to God, they chanted, you still got it.
Yeah, they're talking about her ass.
I guess. That makes more sense than anything else I could think of. So Karen came out with Tracy. Karen bitched at both of them for a while. She had security lead Tracy away. She said that she was tempted to strip Velvet of her title, but instead she was just going to make her life a living hell. Madison came out. It was supposed to be Madison versus Velvet, but before the match started, Gail Kim made her big return, and she joined the heels. They all beat up Velvet, and that was that.
Could have sworn there was a shot of Velvet mouthing the words, and I quote, "fuck me." She was very upset with Karen. Or horny.
I was going to say. The way,
not sure which.
Yeah, I think the way you emphasized that,
I did
put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Emphasis was
yeah.
Unacceptable.
I would much rather hear her say those words the way you said them than hear you say it the way you said them.
Do we have to go there?
Bischoff called out Hogan. He took credit for Hogan's entire career. It was Bischoff when Hogan went face-to-face in the ring. The rest of Immortal was surrounding the ring. Finally, Bischoff hit him. Hulk completely no-sold it. So Gunner and Bully Ray and the other guy got in the ring for Steiner. And they were going to beat him up 3-on-1, but Sting came in with baseball bats to make the save. Bischoff tried to leave, but his own son cut him off. Now, keep in mind, seemingly 100 years ago, they were doing a heel ref angle. They didn't mention it forever. Then, on the pay-per-view, they brought back the heel ref, like we were supposed to remember every detail of this, and revealed he was, in fact, Eric Bischoff's son. And then, on the same show, this man turned on Eric Bischoff.
This is a poorly written storyline.
So Bischoff goes to
Actually,
leave.
I just say it's poorly written shit, because I can't even call it a storyline.
Bischoff goes to leave. His kid cuts him off. Eric cuts a promo on his child. He says, "You are not worthy of the name Bischoff." He tears off the man's shirt to reveal that he actually went to a tattoo parlor and paid a man to take ink and scar into his skin the word Bischoff. That's astounding. So he said, "You're not worthy of this name," and finally he hit his dad, and Eric took a big bump, and kid's actually in hella good shape. I will say that. So that was the segment. Storm and Rude were walking around backstage. Storm muttered something about wishing he had more time to prepare for this. This infuriated Rude. He cut a promo on him saying he'd been preparing for this all his life. He was more prepared than ever. So go out there and kick his ass. "I want to celebrate with the next world champion, James Storm." At this point, Storm drank a beer and went to the ring. We had Storm versus Angle. It went less than a minute. Angle backed up into the corner, beat him up a few times until the ref pulled him off. The third time, Angle could take no more. He grabbed the referee, set him aside, and stared a hole through him, and then he turned around and he ate a super kick, and James Storm covered him and pinned him. 1, 2, 3. At least one fan in the building completely lost his shit. Bobby Roode immediately hit the ring, gave his partner a giant hug. Storm took his belt, hit the crowd. There was a fan out there with a "sorry about your damn luck" sign. Another fan handed him a beer. Everyone was happy for him. He went back to the ring. The rest of Fortune was there. They had a great big beer party. Storm cut a promo, said, "The cowboy is here to stay, you son of a bitches." Talking about all the guys who had come and gone. And then he calmed down, and reality kind of sunk in, and he said, "Listen, Rude, you deserve this belt." And he passed the belt to him, and Rude said, No, you deserve it." And Rude put the belt on him, and they were all friends. This was the opposite of how Ring of Honor ended, where it just went off the air. The match itself was nothing. The post-match was everything, and it was great.
You know, I talked about this with Todd today. I would not have changed the finish on Sunday. I think a lot of people bought Bound for Glory, although it's looking like not as many people bought the show as I thought. But I think a lot of people were interested in Bound for Glory because it was a fairly well-built storyline. Yes, it wasn't perfect. Stop sending me emails. It was not perfect. But for Christ's sake, if you watch this show, it was pretty damn good by Impact standards. And it was the time. It was a time for Robert Roode. And they decided, well, I even say they, Hulk Hogan, pretty much single-handedly, decided that, we're not doing this. So then they decided, well, we'll put it on Storm. And hearing it, you know, I thought, okay, I would have put the belt on Rude. But if you're not gonna, then this is the absolute best thing possible otherwise. When I watched it, I thought, wow, that was a really cool deal. Everybody loves James Storm. It was a fascinating twist to the storyline. After all that build and all that tease of these two guys breaking up, Rude fails, and the next night on TV, Storm gets it. And all of the different directions they can go. Mm-hmm. And the fans went nuts. They made it seem like a big deal. James Storm ascending to the top. And I watched it and I just thought, man, that was a home run right there. That was really awesome. But unfortunately, I couldn't get that excited because I know where they're going. And I don't know. It hasn't been taped, obviously. It's going to be taped next Wednesday, I believe. The day before they shoot the angle, actually, or they air the angle on television. I don't know if Bobby Roode is going to beat James Storm for free on television to win the title. But the very
next
fact
week?
that 2 weeks from now, Roode wins the number one contenders match. And by the way, who do you think he has the number one contenders match with to determine who gets a shot at James Storm?
Kurt Angle?
Oh God, no, Vinny.
All right.
Kurt Angle can barely walk.
That was why I was going to. That's
okay,
why I
the
thought
next
it was
worst thing.
I did read this. Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Yes.
Number one contender, Samoa Joe.
Yes.
So they have a match, and of course, Samoa Joe loses. So James Storm gets his title shot at Bobby Roode in 2 weeks. Again, I don't know if Bobby Roode wins, but the fact that you're doing this fucking match for free on television in 2 weeks, you guys are complete idiots.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Sunday, everything got all fucked up, and what you came up with after Hogan pulled his bullshit card was something that actually worked out great in the storyline. And now you've already shot the angle to put that fucking match on TV for free in 2 weeks. I mean, you guys are just out of your minds. It just taints the whole thing for me. This was just so great. This was a really, really great finish to the show. And it worked out good in storyline. The fans loved it. And there's so many different ways you can go.
Yeah.
And where they're going is a match between these two guys in 2 weeks. I mean, it's just like, blows my mind. But the reality is, like I said today, Bobby Roode was supposed to win the title on Sunday. And they had a lot of different things that they were doing, both in storyline and promotional things they're doing and merchandising things that they're doing, all built around Bobby Roode as champion. So when Hogan decided he wasn't going to put the belt on Bobby Roode at the pay-per-view, I mean, if all of these things are already set in motion, you pretty much got to get the title on Bobby Roode ASAP. And so that appears to be what they're doing. Which begs the question,
why did you let Hulk Hogan...
didn't you just put the goddamn fucking cocksucking belt on him on Sunday?
Because they're idiots.
That's the answer. Because they're idiots. But hey, maybe James Storm will retain the title. But
maybe they'll change their mind again.
The edge is still off it if you even do the match. I mean, the fact that they're even doing the match this early is just completely idiotic, regardless of the finish.
Yeah.
And I think Rude's winning. I mean, he may not, but I think he probably is. So anyway, this was I can't even say it was a good show. I thought the end of the show was very good. We did not need 42 minutes of talking about shit nobody cares about. I mean, really.
No one cares about who runs the company.
Nobody gives a shit about it.
Nobody cares about Dixie.
No one ever has.
No.
If TNA were doing more than 8,000 buys, then you could argue that people care about who runs the company. But no one cares who runs the company. People just want to see some feuds made and settled. And the closest they got to that was Bobby Roode and Kurt Angle, and what a finish we got. Kurt Angle beating him on Sunday, and then losing it to another guy. And now they're going to do the match anyway. It's just... it's depressing.
Same old shit, different year.
To the back! Let's jump smack dab into Impact.
Impact opened with a recap of last week. If you're not paying attention, have not been sleeping under a rock, frankly, James Storm is the new TNA champion, and they showed him winning the build-up to the match itself and the celebration, and there was a bunch of never-before-seen footage here of James Storm immediately backstage getting emotional about his father, talking about all he had done. They showed clips of him indie matches of James Storm in like high school gyms with basketball hoops above the ring and early TNA stuff. And this was a pretty good package, but honestly, it should have been a bigger deal, and not something shown basically during the opening credits. They buried it. They buried this video package.
Well, they played it on the website last week, Vinny.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So, Storm came to the ring. He has new music. He talked about watching WrestleMania with his father. Said he and his dad did 3 things together. They played football, they watched NASCAR, and they watched pro wrestling, and he raised his belt to his father, who passed away when he was 12, and said, "Dad, I'm the champ." And he said people told him he wasn't big enough or fast enough or pretty enough, and he didn't kiss enough ass, but here he was. He thanked the fans for getting him to making his dream come true. He brought out the guys from Fortune. He thanked all of them, and he said that Bobby Roode got screwed at Bound for Glory. He wanted to give Bobby Roode a title shot when who should come out but the fat loser Samoa Joe.
Minus 10 points.
Minus 10 points in the tournament. He came out and he said that he had been a part of this group once. I have zero memory of this, of Samoa Joe ever aligning himself with these men. So he compared them to Immortal, said they were the same thing, just keeping playing favorites amongst themselves and trying to keep everyone else down. He challenged James Storm to defend the title against himself, and he called himself, this is a quote, the most dominant force in TNA. Mm-hmm. A lie. Storm called him a loser several times, called him a dumb bitch, pointed out all the losing Joe had done lately. He lost to Crimson, he lost to a bunch of other men. So Sting came out. He was wearing street clothes and sunglasses, no makeup, but he did have his gloves on. That made me laugh. And Sting is in charge, and for no apparent reason, he booked Samoa Joe versus Bobby Roode in a number 1 contenders match tonight, with the winner getting a title shot next week in Macon. Then he disappeared. We never saw Sting again. For that matter, we never saw James Storm again. They brushed him under the rug and moved on with the show.
Yes.
Other than that, the segment was...
Well, we saw James Storm at the very end of the show.
We did?
Yeah, he came out on the ramp after Bobby
I
Roode
see.
won.
All right. Well, yes, but yes. Aside from the stupidity of having Samoa Joe in a number one contenders match after months and months and months of losing, this segment was fine. They announced here that on this show...
Actually, there was one thing about this segment that I didn't like.
Okay.
Or at least, I did not like it, but it's just a perfect example of the people writing the show not really thinking all that much. So, Storm comes out, and actually, there are going to be some spoilers here, everybody. So, if you don't want spoilers, you better fast forward like the rest of the show. So, Storm comes out, and he offers Roode a shot at the title. And Roode, incredulously, goes, "Really?" It was last week that James Storm offered to give him the championship.
Yes.
And he said, "No, you can have it." Now he's shocked that this man is giving him a shot at the title. Furthermore, as nearly everybody here is well aware, and this is a spoiler, next week on the show, Bobby Roode screws James Storm and turns heel to take the title. He hits him with a beer bottle. He wants the title so bad that he turns heel on his friend. Mm-hmm. So why don't you just fucking take it last week, you jackass? Do people think about the logic of this situation here?
No. All right. So, after this, they announced that on this show, on this episode of Impact, Gail Kim and Jeff Hardy are both making their return matches. Now, Gail Kim, less a big deal, but Jeff Hardy, after all these months, is going to wrestle in TNA again, and there was no hint this was happening until right now.
Actually, they did the tapings, and I read all the taping results, and I as well was surprised when I read Dave's update today, and it said Jeff Hardy's first match back, and announced it on television as well, and I thought, how about that?
Yes.
No build.
No, zero build. Why would you want to tease this or advertise it and get people to tune in when you can just do it? Chris Daniels cut a promo. He denied losing in the I Quit match to AJ Styles. He said AJ had done the audio equivalent of Photoshop, cutting his promos together to make it sound like he quit. And he said AJ couldn't beat him, and neither could his opponent tonight, who he called Bob Van Dam.
Bob Van Dam. BVD.
So we had Chris Daniels versus Bob Van Dam. He had a match. Daniels was disqualified for using a toolbox. That's not a metaphor. You got a box full of tools.
We're not talking about Mr. Anderson here.
No. He then tried to kill him with a screwdriver, but AJ Styles ran down to chase him away. So Rob recovered after this toolbox strike, and he looked at AJ, and they were playing Rob's music, and the ref raised his hand, and AJ said, "Well, Daniels was disqualified, you see, for hitting you with a weapon." And Rob shrugged and smiled and raised his hand and walked to the back like he didn't care anymore.
Yep.
It was Rob's entire attitude about this company and perhaps this entire industry at this point.
And his
summarized in one moment.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. So, Karen, Tracy, Gail, and Madison Rain all came out. And Gail got to cut a promo.
The four horrorsmen.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Gail talked about TNA and the other company she used to work for. She said she was tired of doing what she was told. And that was her exact words, by the way, the other company. She said it was no longer about the fans. It was not about the company. It was about her being treated like a main eventer. So Karen talked, and she said that she wanted to get the belt off that prostitute Velvet and onto the best woman wrestler in the world, Gail Kim. There was a "We Want Velvet" chant in the crowd, and the funny part was that Tracy, who's, her gimmick is that she's being forced to align herself with the heels, she was in the background leading the chants. That was funny. So we had Gail versus Tara. Gail kicked her ass and left her for dead. I didn't see the finish. Of course, there was no replay. So I went online to check what the finish had been. I went to the Torch site, and Wade apparently also missed the finish. He just said she dominated until winning clean.
She used her foot to the face, fall on her back,
right.
Whatever the hell they call it.
I just think it's funnier that we both missed it and neither cared, and there was no replay.
The Gale Force. I made that up. I don't know what it's called.
That's probably a better name than what it actually is.
I think of what you could call the name of her finisher.
The foot thing.
The
Eat feet?
Gale Force.
Gale Force. Eat defeat. How is it?
Ate the feet?
Eat defeat.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding
I swear to God, that's true.
Eat the feet?
I told you Gale Force is a better name.
She only uses one fucking foot.
Well, no. Defeat. D-E-F-E-A-T.
Eat defeat?
Yes.
No. Fuck off.
I didn't invent it.
You've got to be kidding me. That's really what it's called? Eat, defeat?
Yes.
No, it's... Hold on a second. Where the fuck did you find this?
Actually,
From Wikipedia?
Actually, by the time I finally found it, I believe it was the front page on your site.
No!
Yes.
Who wrote that report?
I don't know, some guy.
I know who wrote the report, actually, but it cannot possibly be called Eat, Defeat. Oh my god, on her Wikipedia. Eat, Defeat. Happy ending. Yes, they gave Gail Kim a finisher
Yes.
called the Happy Ending.
That I
That
recall.
is true.
That I recall.
Yeah. Eat, Defeat. Oh my god. That sets standards right there.
Bischoff and Ric Flair arrived. They shunned Robbie E. Had Robbie E versus Eric Young. All right. Robbie E comes out. He's got Rob Terry with him, who, by the way, shouldn't he be Robbie T? So the gimmick is Robbie E is the Jersey Shore guy, and he's going into the club, and Rob Terry's his bouncer. So they set up a velvet rope so that Rob Terry can go down, stand by it, and then open it, and Robbie E can get in. That's awesome.
Not too bad.
So Eric Young came out. He's wacky, and he pinned Robbie E in a minute. And all I have to say about this is that it occurred to me that someday, if I was in charge of the world, I would have just for one match as an opportunity to book the wackiest, goofiest, and perhaps worst tag team of all time, Rob Terry and Mason Ryan as a team. Two big, clumsy, musclehead Welshmen. Have Charlotte Church do the ring music.
Vince.
Money.
This is the entire decade of, well, the entire first half of the 90s. And second half of the 80s.
Didn't work. But none of them were Welsh, you see.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
How about the Kim Plant Buster? No?
I'm fine.
That's better than Eat, Defeat.
It probably is. You're not topping Gale Force. Gale Force is a great name.
All right.
So, anyway, they beat up Eric Young here, and Eric said, "You hit me in the stomach." That's what he said. He vowed to bring in, this is a quote, "the Jersey Shore's Ronnie." Mm-hmm. And he said, "You're going to see us
What
fist
a
pumping.
tepid reaction.
You're going to see us fist pumping in Macon, Georgia." So this is the whole build of this. They had about a 4-minute segment with 60 seconds of actual wrestling. And, yeah, no one cares about any of this shit. Chris Daniels was backstage. He said he beat Rob Van Dam tonight and he wants a title shot. So I guess the gimmick is he's delusional. Kazarian showed up and tried to make peace. Bubba Ray cut a promo on Jeff Hardy. Said they know each other for years. He didn't respect him. He never respected him because rehab is for quitters, he said. So then things got irritating. They got irritating here and then great very shortly thereafter. Mm-hmm. We had a Garrett Bischoff video package.
Yes.
They showed him as a referee, as Jackson James, doing fucked up finishes and scream baby faces. This went all the way back to 2010. They showed this package like a month late. They randomly reminded us there was a ref named Jackson James at the pay-per-view. They revealed he was Bischoff's son. We were supposed to care. We were supposed to remember all of this. 2010! Last year! No one remembered anything. So they showed this here, too little, too late. Then Eric Bischoff came down to the ring. The fans were chanting, "We want Garrett." These fans were lying. Let's be honest. These fans knew it was what they were supposed to chant, and they were hitting their spots. No one wanted Garrett. So Bischoff called Garrett down to the ring. He cut a promo on his son, which included the line, "I did not waste perfectly good semen on somebody who would fail me when I needed you most."
Semen!
That's what he said. Comedy.
That wasn't supposed to be comedy.
No.
He was just talking about his semen.
Mm-hmm. Perfectly good semen.
I don't know about, well.
That's what he said. I'm not judging it. I'm just telling you what he said. So he rambled on for a while, and the gist of all this was that by the end of the night, either Garrett would apologize or Eric would kick his son's ass. Took him a long time to get there. And then came the best part of 2011.
I gotta see if this is on the Impact site.
It better be, because
it probably isn't, because I know these people.
You and I are not going to be able to recap this.
Dumbasses.
Here is what happened. I will tell you what happened, but that will not explain how great it was. Ric Flair met Garrett Bischoff backstage in a hallway, and he cut a promo on him about how he was not enough of a man. He was just a punk, and he needed to learn respect, and they were going to beat respect into him. And then he walked away. I cannot tell you how awesome this was, except to say that it was one of the best crazy old man Ric Flair promos you've ever seen, with the added bonus of extra bitterness and cynicism.
Yeah.
If I tried to quote him, if I tried to read a script of what he said, it would fail. You had to be Ric Flair to make this promo as great as it was.
Trying to find if I can find a video of this.
Again, YouTube. They have videos on the site, you know.
Here's a Ric Flair. Oh, here's the one in the ring. Damn it. It's not there. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, this was the best promo of 2011. I know that people think that
Here's TNA's wrestling channel.
5 hours, 7 minutes. Let me see if this is the whole thing.
5 hours?
Oh, it was posted 5 hours ago.
Oh.
It's 7 minutes long. So I'm going to see if maybe they play more of it than I... Oh,
They have...
It's a different... It's in Turkish.
What?
Doesn't help me. Come on.
They have the Impact Wrestling post-show up right now on their own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They're not getting anything else, unless it's on there.
Basically, everybody, what happened was Flair came out and said, listen, I was excited when you broke in because this business needs men. But he said the operative word is man, not punk kids. He said Garrett was not man enough. He was not experienced enough. He didn't have the balls to be where his father was right now, which that was a funny line, by the way. He said the problem with the business today was too many young punks breaking in who couldn't even walk in his shoes 30 years ago, much less today. He said Garrett was going to go out there tonight with his father, and he needed to go out and take an ass-kicking in front of the entire Impact Zone because that's what he needed. This is a sport for men, he said, not punks. And he said it made him sick when he went to the locker room and he saw nothing but whining crybabies, punks that walked around backstage and needed to get their asses beaten. And he started slapping him around and said he had a problem tonight. He had a problem with Eric Bischoff, and he had a problem with Ric Flair. So he said, you better think long and hard about your life. Holy shit, this was great.
This was great.
Especially him slapping this kid around here at the end. That was even better.
He did walk away muttering to himself profanity and something about slapping the shit out of him.
Well, this isn't the original one, but we got the next best thing here. Here's Flair yelling at him at the end of the show.
We heard earlier that Ric Flair might get involved.
I told you, damn it all, I told you it was tough love. Why don't you treat him like you treated me? Get your act together. No, I ain't gonna take it easy. Ric Flair don't take it easy. You're gonna apologize to your old man right now and quit looking at them. They're not gonna help you. They're not in the ring. You're in the ring with Ric Flair.
He handled this one.
I'm telling you, I want you to not only apologize, I want you to kiss my ass. Come here. Quit walking away from me. I'm not done talking to you. I said apologize. I'm not going to screw around with you like your dad. I'm going to really mess you up. Apologize. Apologize.
Now he's taking his clothes off.
I said apologize.
No! Garrett whacked him. Literally. Just, like I said, if you would have had Garrett and Eric Bischoff close the show, and Ric Flair had not been involved, this would have been like horrendous. But Ric Flair made both segments with Garrett. Listen, God bless Garrett Bischoff. He's got a good physique. He seems like a nice guy, but he's completely out of his element as a top babyface on Impact. He's young. He's green. He's been a referee. He is a horrible actor at this point. I mean, him trying to react to Ric Flair, I mean, he is just totally out of his element. But Ric Flair was good enough for like 10 men. Like 10 men! Which means if Garrett Bischoff was minus 8 men, we still had a positive here via my math. So this was awesome.
Certainly positive.
This was awesome. And the backstage thing was even better. The promo that Flair cut... Remember years ago when... who did Flair cut that promo on?
Carlito.
That's right. They sent him out to bury Carlito. Mm-hmm. Where the fuck is that one? I gotta find...
Similar to this was better.
This was better.
This was better.
But the Carlito one was awesome. Here it is. Ric Flair gets mad at Carlito. Let's play this one.
At least we'll keep you warm. Like I always do, you know.
Yes, we do.
See you, Rick.
See you, Rick.
Hey, where are you going?
We're going to me. I told her we're going out.
You're going out? Hey, didn't you lose your match tonight?
Yeah, but, they cheated or something. It's cool.
It's cool. You realize there's a triple threat main event match going on tonight, live on Raw, to see who goes to WrestleMania? You're telling me it's cool, you're leaving? You're not going to stay and watch the show?
Carlito's not in the main event. So what do I care?
Have you ever stopped to think that there's a reason why guys like you, and I'm talking about guys like you, are not in the main event? That's right, why you're not in the main event is because maybe you're a lazy, underachieving son of a lucky to be walking the halls of this building, lucky to be on the Raw roster, lucky to be here at all. You're really pissing me off right now.
What the hell's your problem?
My problem, I'll tell you what my problem is. Guys like you, that have no passion, no guts. You want all the money, you want all the glory, you want to fly first class, you want to walk around with someone like her. You don't deserve it. You haven't worked for it. You haven't bled, sweat, and paid the price to be here. That's what's driving me crazy. I'm walking this hall trying to figure out why guys like you are taking my spot. Yeah, guys like you are taking my spot. I've been here forever, and I'm going to work to stay here. McMahon told me today, if I want to stay, I got to prove it to him. You want to stay, you got to prove it to yourself. It's not cool, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. I'm walking around trying to figure out what my name is, and you're leaving before the main event? Yeah, me. Sometimes I walk around trying to figure out who I am, and the whole goddamn world knows who I am. Except me sometimes. And you're leaving.
Awesome.
That was great.
Sucks to be Carlito.
I am... Wow.
Well, I'm sure somebody will send me the Garrett Bischoff one.
We'll have it soon. I may have to retract my statement about which was better. But they were both great.
Oh, my God. This was just so awesome. This was so awesome. So there you go. And you know what? I don't even want to say this. But what the hell? Flair could make Garrett Bischoff look like a man in the ring. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe not today. I really don't need to see Flair wrestling again. Let's be honest. But if this were 5 years ago or 10 years ago, Flair versus Garrett Bischoff, that had been money. Nowadays, I don't need to see it. Flair, honest to God bless Ric Flair. I thought this promo was awesome. He doesn't need to be wrestling no more. But 5-10 years ago, he would have made a man out of Garrett Bischoff. Anyway, this was fucking outstanding. Literally, I think this was the best promo of 2011. The Briscoes had a great promo a while ago, as we put up on the front page. I said was the best promo of the year, and people were outraged. The people that didn't know what they were talking about. But this one was probably better because it made it through the censors unedited.
Well,
he did mention balls.
He got bleeped a few times.
Did he really? I don't think he did.
Towards the end, when he was walking away.
Oh, that's right. When he said, I kicked your fucking ass or something. What did he say?
Something about slapping the shit out of him. I
slapped the shit out of you is what he says. He walked away. God damn, it was great. So yeah, there you go.
We had a Jeff Hardy video reminding us that everyone hates him. Then Jeff Jarrett came out ranting and raving. Same shit he's been saying, except he added that he wanted to know why Jeff Hardy didn't show up for a match in 2006. That's 5 years ago? I don't know what he's talking about. Well,
the last story of Jeff Hardy is that WWE wanted him to go to rehab, and he refused.
Okay.
So he was immediately hired by TNA.
Right.
So his TNA run, suffice to say, was not without incident.
Okay, yeah.
And he was supposed to show up for a pay-per-view, and either he didn't show up or they fired him right before. I forget the circumstances, but he wasn't there.
Great.
And,
I'm glad you, professional newsletter writer, remember this because you put it in your newsletter. I guess technically I should qualify as that too. But the point is, seriously, I didn't remember this at all. And if I didn't remember this, the guy who does watch every week and does take notes on the shit, how on earth is anyone else supposed to?
The reason I remember is because when he was fired or released from TNA or whatever happened right around Turning Point, I did not put the blame on TNA. It was a bad situation. And he was then subsequently hired back by WWE.
Right, I remember that.
Yes. So that's why I remember these things.
So Jeff Hardy came out to attack Jarrett. They had a brawl. They were separated. The same thing they do every week for a month now. And somewhere in here, Bully Ray attacked Jeff Hardy from behind, and they rang the bell, and suddenly that was it. It was just Jeff Hardy's big return. He was wrestling again. So they had a match. It was fine. Went to the commercial. Bully Ray got the heat. Jeff made his comeback. He had the Twist of Fate and Senton and won. And on this Senton, and I did not think that Bully Ray was out of position or anything, but Jeff came off with a senton, and the idea is that you do a roll through, and your shoulders land on the guy, but most of your weight actually lands on the mat. Jeff Hardy landed with his pelvis and all of his body weight right across Bully Ray's sternum.
Ask Matt Farmer about that one.
This looked brutal. And I remember the one you gave a senton to Matt Farmer and did the same thing, but there were two differences. One, I was there when you told Matt Farmer where to lay in the ring, and he was not there. He was way too far away, so it was his fault. Two, he was twice the size of you.
That is true.
And I realize Bully Ray is not a small man. He was the larger man here, but he's not nearly as large as he used to be, and Jeff Hardy ain't no midget. This looked bad, to the point where I decided that Jeff Hardy had to have been high right here.
And by the way, the Turning Point situation, he did actually no-show the pay-per-view, but he claimed he'd had travel issues. He was immediately suspended.
And when you get suspended in TNA, that takes a lot.
In 2000, and actually it was 2005, Turning Point.
Oh, 6 years ago. All this shit annoys me. Like, we're all supposed to carry around an encyclopedic knowledge of TNA history.
Of course you are, Vinny. Of course you are.
Chrissy tried to interview Hardy immediately afterwards, but Jarrett attacked. And
her tits. They were interviewing Jeff. I mean, let's not lie here. I'm just reporting the facts. I mean, the camera angle that they had was literally Jeff Hardy and her breasts.
Great.
Was it not? Because they're pigs.
Yeah. So,
I'm just reporting the facts.
Jarrett attacked him, and Bully Ray joined in, and they were double-teaming him until who should make the save but Mr. Anderson.
What a tag team battle that's going to be.
Because that's a team that needed to be reunited. Jeff Hardy and Mr. Anderson. So then we had the semi-main event.
Better than Truth and Morrison.
That's true.
Yeah.
The second...
on the bright side.
The second most important segment on the show, Bobby Roode versus Samoa Joe in a top contenders match. Maybe it's just because Bobby Roode's in great shape, but goddamn, Samoa Joe looked fat tonight. Just me?
He's moving slow.
He
doesn't care.
He's moving soft.
He's older.
Yeah. So they had a match. It was good. They've both had better, especially lately Bobby Roode. Joe at one point picked him up for a Death Valley driver, and he put the death in Death Valley driver, dropping him right on his head. And fortunately, Roode survived, and he came back and he got the win with the Fisherman Suplex. So there you go. Top contender for the world title. Now with that silliness out of the way, let's move on to the real news. The real main event.
This was good. It was good because of Ric Flair. Bischoff came out. He called a sundown.
Main event apology.
He demanded he apologize. He wouldn't. Flair came out. He slapped the kid around. The kid finally hit him. Flair kicked him in the nuts. We got about 10 nut shots afterwards.
He seriously did do like a half dozen nut shots.
And they beat him up and they left him laying. And listen, I'm not saying this was better than the Joe Roode thing, nor am I saying that this should have gone on last. Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode for the title shot absolutely should have gone on last. But this was not as appalling as I was expecting because at least Ric Flair made the thing great. That's all I'm saying. It still should have gone on prior to the actual fucking match to determine number one contender for the title after they spent all that fucking time building up Bobby Roode and all the other stuff they did. But hey, listen, you guys better hope, you guys better pray that Ric Flair is involved in all these segments, because this is not the last you're going to see of Garrett Bischoff in the main event.
Oh, no.
This is the last.
This was I can't say out of control nepotism, because it's very controlled. But yes, this is the most blatant, flagrant, shining example of nepotism I've seen in a long time.
Literally weeks.
What was the last one?
I don't know, Hunter beating Punk and Hunter not doing a job at the last pay-per-view, even though Punk is getting a shot at the next pay-per-view.
Do you know what nepotism means?
At least son-in-law.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. No, but even there, no, this is worse, because yes, it's kind of silly what they're
You're right, this is worse.
This is worse.
Triple
Hunter
H
is still great.
Yeah. Garrett Bischoff
is still Garrett Bischoff.
Yes, this is only going to get worse, everybody. All right, it is time for me to wrap this up. But as promised, we are going to play the official F4W Halloween song. Our good buddy Klitz has provided this for us here. And I believe this is one of my favorite songs of all time. So let's listen to it here. And happy Halloween, everyone.